Here's a fun one for you. So, you're starting a business. How are you going to get your phone calls? You just going to use your old cell phone? Well, that's cool. But how do you stop the phone calls when you're on vacation? Customers will call you all hours of the night. They will text you all hours of the night. What ways are you going to have that they can get a hold of you? So on this video, I want to talk about a few different things that I do with my pet waste removal business that have been successful. So when I first started out, first thing I did was I went and got a Google Voice number. Well, after I registered my business name and my LLC and got the insurance and all that and joined the association. And so the phone number is a Google Voice number. Now, I'm not too sure how I'm going to work this in the future as we're getting a lot of phone calls in, but let me tell you about the Google Voice number, okay? I have 3 different people that have the Google Voice app downloaded on their phone, and I have it set where all the text messages, they can text from it, they can receive text, the phone calls, they can call in and out of that line, all 3 of us can on their phones, and they can, if somebody calls in and leaves a voicemail, they can retrieve the voicemail off of it. So if I'm busy and I can't get to it, I have a main guy that I pay who takes care of the majority of all my phone work, because a lot of scammers come in, and Google's real good about knocking out scam calls too, sending them straight to voicemail so we don't even see them. So that's one option. That's a VoIP type deal where, you know, you look into it. I like it. It works good for me. I've got every text message from the very first time I ever tested it, where I sent a test message to who now is my Sunday scooper, and he is the guy that answers my phone through the week. Like, the message is still there. Like, we never delete a text. So if a customer texted me a year ago for prices and they come back, everything we talked about is still there, where I'm just verifying what we talked about. Now, of course, our prices have changed, and I explained to them, hey, because you contacted me a year ago, whatever. So that's a Google Voice number. Good thing to look into. It's great to get on multiple phones. I can turn it on away where it doesn't ring, and the customer doesn't have my personal number. As simple as that. The customer doesn't have my personal number. The second thing I did, and I'm going to tell you to shy away from it, I went and got a 1877 number. I don't know why. I paid $10 a month for this thing. I think I was allowed 1,000 minutes. And it was a VoIP. It was an app on the phone. My original decals and magnets had the 1877 number on it. Never received a single phone call. Because long distance isn't a thing anymore. And when I got researching it more, you don't need a 1877 number. We're just not that. If you're a local business, people want to call a local number. Now I do have, so I'm in the 502 area code. Now I do have a 270 area code, and that's because about 10 minutes south of where I live starts the 270 area, and we cover another 30 miles down. We have a route that goes down there, and about 4 other towns down there that are in another. So I do have a 270 that's a VoIP number that I pay for, and I do get phone calls on it. But still, once again, it's a local number. So a 1-800 number, 1877. Now, it would have been cool if I could have got 1877 Poop King or Poop, something poop related, but initially, that all them numbers are pretty much taken up now. I'm so late in the game. The pet waste removal business, poop scooping, has been around since the 80s. A lot of them got locked up, so they're all gone. Another way people communicate with me is text messages. On all my decals on all my cars, it says text-call. I have found out only about, I would say, 30%, 25% actually want to pick up a phone call and call you and talk to you. That's just the generation we're in. We're everybody's so busy. I have people all the time. They're like, they'll message, because it says text, and they'll text me and be like, hey, give me their name. Like, we got one dog, and what would be a price to get it cleaned? I'm like, well, now I ask them for their address so I can make sure it's not an oversized yard. If they don't want to give me their address, I always tell them, this is the price for an average quarter-acre yard. If it's an oversized yard, there's an additional charge of a few dollars. So a lot of people text. And I like the texting thing because they can give me all their information and it's right there. I'm not having to write something down on the road, and it makes it a lot easier that way. And the other way is social media. I've sold a lot of jobs through Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, not so much, but Facebook, there's a whole algorithm and thing that I'll have to show you what I can explain in another video how I am able to get sales. It's a little tricky on how it all works. But yeah, so it's Facebook. A lot come in from Facebook. And those messages, and once I get them in the system and started, I swipe them over to done. And I've always got it there to reference. Same way with text messages. Once we got them in the system, I send them an email, be like, hey, the service agreement's been emailed out to you. This is your service day. You'll get a text the night before, which that's another form of communication I have. Is the system I use is called yardbook.com. This is a landscaping software. There's multiple softwares out there. I advise you to research them all and see which one you like the best. Yardbook is the lowest price one and lets you have unlimited users with an app. It's not without its little flaws. It has little glitches that they're working on, that just things that, I can't even explain without showing that it does. But there's things that I've learned, and so communication is key. Yardbook is free unless if you want bulk text messaging, as of right now. If you want bulk text messaging or to sync up with SyncBook or QuickBooks. But now keep in mind, Yardbook is all software all into one. It's got its own credit card processor. It can do your invoicing. Everything that QuickBooks would do, it all does. It keeps track of everything for your customers. I click auto-generate invoices for these dates for the month. Every job that's been closed out as closed, it pulls it up on the invoice. And then I can go through there and click, when it's ready, I can click on batch email. I go through, when I run credit cards, I'm like, click, 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 click. And I run about 250 credit cards every month. But that's yardbook.com. I don't advertise for them or anything. I'm just saying. But the bulk text messaging. So every night I send out a bulk text message every night. Just saying, for these next people. And it lets me click, I got a few different options. And the main one I click on, it's right there, is yard scheduled for tomorrow. So I click on it, and then I click one button, and it goes down the list and puts them into a big bulk text message, which emails back, but that keeps it on file. And all of them know that they can reply back, if, okay, hey, we were on vacation. Hey, sorry, we forgot to tell you we're on vacation. Okay, we'll skip you this week. I don't charge anything as long as they tell me then. But if my guy pulls up to your house, you get charged. That's just my rule. If my guy pulled up to your house and you cancel us at the door for that week, you get charged. I hate being that way. But having close to 400 jobs, I don't have time for a person, one of my scoopers, to go to somebody's house that they didn't need it. Because it's tight. I mean, we get towards the end of the week where everybody wants Thursdays and Friday, by the way. But so communication. So I send out that bulk text. I always said I was going to stop it, but it never fails. If I forget to do it one night, the next day I'll have 40 people messaging me saying, I didn't get a message that I was going to be scooped today. And I'm like, yes, today's your scooping day. You will always be scooped on your scooping day unless otherwise notified. And I guess people, and I guess they enjoy it. I guess it's a reassurance for them. And it helps out with billing too, because then because I bill per week. So if they have 4 weeks in that monthly cycle, they can go back and they can see 4 texts came in for that cycle. But yeah, communication. So getting a third party number, it doesn't have to be Google Voice. Google Voice is free and it's worked fine for me. And if they ever decide they want to charge me for it, I will pay the Google gods what they want. I did that, just, it's my number now. I don't know how I'm ever going to transfer it to another line. I think I've 3 phones in now and we just move them over. I download the app and there it is. It's just synced up with my email. I mean, even so communications on email. So when you set up your website, they're going to ask you, do you want a, james@yourbusinessname.com when you set your website up. Google has Google Suites. It's $6 per email address. GoDaddy wanted like $15 or $20 for each one. Now, it did take me like a month before Google recognized me as a business. So now if you're getting into it and that's, the website, I get a lot of traffic to the website, but I don't get a whole lot of messages like emails where it says, click here to email us. I get maybe 5 a year. The rest of them come in through text, phone calls, or Facebook. Phone calls are very scarce. There's some people that just like a phone call. Majority of everybody, the texting thing. But you have to be very clear and decisive when you're texting of what your prices are. This is what your services are. This is what we're doing. So communication is a big key that you might have to write out a longer message. So communication is a big thing with all the customers, especially if, like right now, we're having, a lot of us are getting, it's just hot, we're not bred for this, in the Midwest here, we're not used to, it being heat index of 110. So it's knocking some of us off our feet. Plus we're all getting around of getting sick and, sometimes we fall a few short, the routes that we could do in the winter, we can't do in the summer. We just, and then, we just had Monday, we had one girl was sick. She'd been sick all weekend. She was still sick, so she was out. Another girl, she had 2 flat tires. And then the day before, I was sick. I ended up getting 3 of my jobs done and just called it. That, I was flat off my feet. I came home, took a shower, and passed out for about 20 hours until the next morning. Well, maybe not 20 hours, but I pretty much slept the rest of the afternoon all the way till morning. And so I'd already rolled my jobs over from that day to the next day, because I had a shorter day, and then having my Indiana girl be sick. So I had all that route sitting open. And then the other girl that was going to work, she had 2 flat tires. So obviously if you have 1 flat tire, you change it and go to the tire shop and get it changed. But 2 of them, a little bit of a problem, she had to get a ride and, to go take them in. And luckily she got started by 1. I got out there in the morning and I ended up working through my stuff from the day before and then the next day, and I wasn't feeling so hot, but it's got to get done. But communication is the key, keeping with your customers, letting them know, hey, look, we fell behind, that we got you on a schedule for tomorrow. Always have a resolution. Always. If you're messaging your customer because, the kids got sick or, your scooper called in or whatever the story is. I'm getting to the point where I run 4 days a week, but I only run 8 to 12 jobs a day now. That's a 2 to 3 hour route. So I've got myself now where I can be a backup if something happens. But unfortunately, we had the trifecta hit us the other day. Me sick and my Indiana girl being sick and then 2 flat tires. And the customers understand that. We don't reschedule a whole lot of jobs. I'm super against it. I have a rule that says, at 2 o'clock, wherever you're at, if you don't think you're going to be able to finish the day, to message me and let me know. Because, at 2 o'clock, I'm still somewhere out in the field and I can start kind of moving jobs around and, seeing who can work over and, And like, I know which customers are okay with it. There's some customers, that they've got the dog inside for us all day, so they want us out there. So it's communication is a big thing. Keep an open line of communication. That to have any type of successful business is just communicating with your customers, getting back with them. People are amazed. When I send out invoices, normally it's at the end of the day. Once I get back, I have people message me like, hey, I haven't seen the invoice come through today. And I'm like, well, we're still out scooping today. As soon as we all get done, I'll be able to run invoices. I said, I still manually do them, which is, clicking auto generate and then going through, making sure everything looks right. Because there is some small glitches that happen every now and then. That's more of clerical glitches when it comes to billing, that we might forget to put a price in there. So I have to go manually put a price in for all them weeks, or, that happens every now and then. That, or once I send them out and they're like, hey, I've only got one dog. It says 2, and I'll get emails at 9, 10, 11, midnight, 1 a.m. And I'll be like, huh. And I'll go back look. I'm like, oh, yeah, they only do have one dog. We accidentally put them in for 2. And I change it and send it back to them. And like, I apologize, So a lot of them appreciate stuff like that, because I don't know what hours everybody works. But yeah, so Google Voice is how we use our phone system. It's 99% on it, towards all the phones. It rings into all of them. We answered. It says, of course, when you call it, it says, this is a Google Voice number. Please leave your, please state your name, and we'll connect you. So a lot of the times with the spam people, they don't say anything. It's because it's a robot. So when we answer, it's like, there's a caller from. So it's not like they're directly on the line. I can listen to them. I can listen to their voicemail and connect into it. And I can also record the call. And then by hitting 4 while I'm on the phone with them. And then I think if I hit #5, I can actually forward them to somebody else. So that's a pretty cool feature. But I've also learned after about 6 o'clock and on the weekends, I don't answer my phone anymore. We do run 7 days a week now. So I do monitor my phone, but I've also got 2 other people monitoring the phone, in case if something happens or a cancellation. I went camping a month and a half ago and no service. And I've got one guy that emails me when he wants to skip a week. Problem was, I'm the only one with access to my email. So that's going to have to be something that I'm going to have to work on in the future. But I'm 18 minutes into this video on communication. So Google Voice, the 1-800 numbers, you can get one. I mean, if you're going to be selling to more of an older generation, I think a 1-800 number would be okay. And if you were doing like nationwide, I think that generation, past the boomers, I think that generation would still follow the 1-800 number. But a lot of the generation now we're dealing in my my people is people that are busy. Everybody says, oh, I bet you get a lot of rich people. Well, no, not really, because a lot of the rich people go out there and scoop their own poop every day. I get average people that married couples, have a couple kids. They both work full-time jobs. They come home. They want to be able to cook dinner, let the kids out and play. They just want to be able to enjoy the yard and their dogs. That is the base of my customers. They're everyday people. A bunch of them, you look at their houses and I'm like, okay, maybe they've done good. Maybe they haven't done good. And then some of them I look at their houses and I'm like, okay, they're getting there, but I always bill after I service, no matter where you start in the billing cycle, our billing cycle ends on the 15th of every month. So on the 15th, you get a bill. If you start services on the 16th, you'll get a whole month before I bill you. If you start on the 14th of the month, you might have your service on the 14th, you get a bill on the 15th. Communication, your Google reviews, your Facebook reviews. Yelp, I had some reviews on there, but they took them off because I refused to pay, which is a whole nother story that everybody says, oh, stay away from Google ads, stay away from Yelp ads. Home Advisor, yes, Home Advisor sends, and Google, And Yelp, I saw those reviews on there. And when I stopped paying from my ad, because I was only getting maybe 8 or 9 clicks and it was costing me $300 to $400 a month, and Google, I get 600 clicks for $300 and over 90,000 views in their searches. And they were charging me for all this extra stuff and I wasn't getting anything out of it. You know, I wasn't coming up. They're not there yet. But when I canceled, all but one review left. A little fishy? I think so. Think about that. Home Advisor, I've never messed with them personally. I've heard stories. You know, they'll send that one lead out to 5, 6, 7 companies. That counts as a lead. You got to pay for that. Whether or not if you get the work is another story. Lowe's or Home Depot had a thing called Porch. Same thing. They'd send out the leads, and when I did pest control, we did Porch, Home Advisor, and a few others, and we would call them. I'm like, no, I didn't call for any of the pest control. So they were bogus leads. We always got bogus leads. I'm not saying that that's how it works or how it doesn't work. I don't really know. I just know what we got doing pest control. I've never gotten anything. I've never messed with them doing this. But okay, we're at 21 minutes. This is my communication video. If you have any questions, send me a message.